Hey guys, I'm Fubsy, and welcome to the very first episode of my coaching series for Apex Legends, Path to Predator. In this series, we're going to be taking a look at viewer-submitted gameplay and trying to offer them some feedback and thought process on what I would have done in their situations to help them improve and take that next step in their ranked playlist. For the first episode of the coaching series today, we have QuitMyDayJ0b, who has submitted his stream footage to me, and we're going to be taking a look at some of his gameplay. He's a good friend of mine that we used to run customs together in Apex Legends with our communities. He represents the Emerald GG Discord community like I do as well, and I'm very excited to try to help him take the next step where he sits at Diamond 4 right now on his path to Predator. If you go ahead and check the description down below the video, I've made sure to link all of his information, all of his socials, his Twitch, and everything like that. Please make sure to go show some support to the man. He has amazing energy and is a phenomenal content creator, and you will not regret it. So to give you an idea on how this is going to work, we have at least one match, full match, that we're going to be fast forwarding through, trying to think of rotations, placement, things that went right, things that went wrong, or mistakes that I saw being made. And then after that, we're going to take a look at a couple of gunfights and think of things that could have been done differently and ways to win these fights. That being said, let's jump right into some gameplay here with QuitMyDayJ0b and the boys dropping into Kings Canyon.
Team, one guy solo went Golden Slums from the team on Runoff. Weird.
I think they went Pit and Golden Slum.
So right away in the footage, I realized that this team likes to consistently land here at airbase, and there's nothing wrong with having a place that you're consistently comfortable landing in. But another thing to consider possibly off landings is you might want to look for an area where two teams are going to land, and then try to land next to maybe that point of interest. It's an easy way for you to get some points off the rip because those teams are going to fight right away. And if you rotate in right as they're fighting or right after you get a little bit of loot, you can get some points early game and kind of relieves the whole pressure of going negative in these ranked matches. Shortly after the start of their game, they get pushed at airbase from the north. I love this strategy right here to throw these grenades. You throw a grenade and you bait the enemy team inside. Your teammates are behind them. You're setting up a good position here for them to get stuck in this little room. But what you do next here is you open this door. When you open this door, you kind of let the floodgates open and you let them push right in and damage you. I think in a good situation there, you could have closed that door and stood there. If you block those two doors, they're most likely going to turn around and try to shoot your teammates, and then you can shoot them in the back. Or they try to kick the door down and your teammates get to shoot them in the back. Either way, it's a win-win if you just body block that door instead of trying to throw this second grenade. It ends up working out for you guys, and your teammates are able to clean up this fight, so we'll keep moving forward. Just a little bit later in the game, you guys have progressed into the next circle, and one of your teammates points out that you guys really need to make sure that no one gets the flank on you all here. I love the call out, I love the communication and the idea that someone should make sure you don't get pushed from this other flank. I think the only problem in this situation is that as Lifeline, you don't have the ability to get out if they do push you. If you do get caught out here, I don't think you're the player that should be making this push. I think either Pathfinder with the grapple to get back or Wraith with the Q in order to get a little bit of time for you guys to rotate back is the best way to go about it. Either way, this position right here is very, very dangerous. You've put yourself in a position where you are downhill and you have no cover. So even if you are going to take this position to cover or this rotation to be the person watching this flank, this position is giving the enemy the high ground there.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
They have that tree they can use to break line of sight on you, and they have that little cliff ledge they can use to try to head peek. Your entire body will be out in the open, and you'll only be shooting at their head. So this is one of those moments where if you are going to cover this angle, I'd recommend you be up top. If you're not going to be up top, and then you drop down to break line of sight and allow your teammates to push while they can't shoot you. But being back here at this range kind of sets you up for failure. Luckily, nobody ends up pushing you guys and everything's okay, but just something to consider in any time you're going to put yourself in a position. You always want to have some cover or a way to get the hell out of there. The next thing that comes to mind for me was shortly after some great sniper shots coming in from the Kraber on CERN 1 there, you guys got some points and were able to rotate safely out of here. You're counting right now how many players are left, the people that you've seen, the teams that you have left, and you've taken a beacon to scan where the next zone is going to be. I love this rotation, but there's something that you should consider right here at this moment. Moving down here, you may know where the next circle is going to be, and you may know that that zone is going to end on those double doors over there by the dam, but that doesn't help your team as much because you don't really have a Watson on your team. Your composition isn't really based on rotating early and then holding that position. With a team more like this, you guys are more in a position where you're going to want to be rotating, fighting, or playing the edge. We'll talk about composition towards the end of the video and some character recommendations, but for now, I think the best place that you can be is actually where CERN and Omni both are right now. By playing the edge up top, right on the side, you can choose which side of these rocks you're going to end up on. If a fight breaks out by the dam, you can slide downhill and push in and try to get some points. If the fight breaks out on the other side of the staircase, you can do the same. Either way, you put yourself to know that no one's going to be behind you, and there's no way that someone could third party you guys. It would be a safe position to have that option. Playing those abilities or playing those chokes in areas where you can choose left or right and you're not forced to go one direction is a very, very strong option that you should always try to take in ranked lobbies and comp playlists. Shortly afterwards, you guys see a zip line with a Pathfinder going up top. You've done the math, you know the numbers. It's probably a rat, you think, but this is a very well-known rat spot for Pathfinders to sit in. There's no timer up there, and I know it leads you guys to some confusion on how to go about playing this next. And in this moment, you now see there's the rat above you, and there's this team here in front of you that are playing the doors. The biggest problem that I see right now is that you've pushed towards this team by the double doors while knowing that that rat is behind you. Putting yourself in this position kind of puts you right in between that rat and that team. You can't push this team on the double doors now because the rat will cause you a problem, and you can't push up towards the rat because of the zip line just being a bad strategy to push. Either way, this is kind of a lose-lose position for you guys to be in, and your Wraith proceeds to use a portal there for what really is no big gain for you guys as a team. While your teammate was dropping that portal and looking up at this Pathfinder, you heard the other two teams inside fighting, and currently going on in the background, you can still hear them fighting in the stairwell. That means that you know there's a rat up above you, there's you guys, and there's two teams fighting inside. With 4 squads left, you've successfully found everybody in the match. At this point, it becomes a matter of staring at the kill feed more than anything right now. If you watch the kill feed and you heard the fighting going on inside, you'll notice that nobody's getting knocked right now. Because nobody's getting knocked on the inside fight, it's safe to assume that that team on the stairs is probably not going to continue down those stairs. With the zone being where it is, this team is going to have to rotate away. They're either going to W key down those stairs, or they're going to come and try to make their way all the way on the north side of the rocks. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where if you had played the north side of the rocks, you may be able to pick that team up rotating you right now in the last minute.
He's peeking right now.
What happens next is something that in Apex Legends I always consider to be a little bit weird. There's never really a 100% right or a 100% wrong call to make in this situation. You're either going to be 100% in as a team, or you're going to be 100% out as a team. Going half in and half out can lead to some real problems. And what you'll notice here is that you guys put a zipline up and you full commit to this rat. I wouldn't push this rat. I don't think it's a good idea. I would play under him and wait it out. But the fact that both your teammates go up to try to 2v1 this man and you don't go with them is kind of a rough situation. They have a caustic placing traps inside. Your two teammates are fighting up top, and you still don't know what happened to that fourth team. If all 3 of you had full committed to going up top, you can get this kill real easy. But what ends up happening is team rotates behind you and your teammates lose the 2v1 up top. You get knocked down low and Omni Sensei is able to finish the one up top. But what could have happened is if you were all 3 up top, those teams rotating would have rotated below you. You would have had high ground and you would have all 3 still been alive. Then you would have been able to, from that point, no longer be in the middle. Taking that position early on really put you guys in a rough spot and unfortunately got you sandwiched. Your teammates are able to get the pickup and the res on one player, so it does get 2 bodies back alive and working together here for the finish. But if you had all 3 been together, I think it just makes a better opportunity overall. The other team that ended up pushing in dies, and the team that was holding inside of the bunker is able to clean up everything to end the game anyways. Just 1 or 2 little changes there could have put you guys in a much better position to be able to handle that game and possibly come out with the win. I like that you're saying positive RP, it's GG's, don't sweat it, and trying to keep the team positive mentality there. I think it's very important to do that on a ranked grind. But what we're gonna end up doing now is we're gonna take a look at some of these gunfights that you get into on the other parts of the VOD, and give a little bit of feedback on how to make sure you can win some of these gunfights, because I noticed that you guys have some really good gunfights and some really scattered ones. So if we can finish and polish up those little ones, I think it'll help you guys take that next step. And then at the end of the video, we'll touch a little bit more on team comp and some of my thoughts on how that can help you guys out in the long run as well. Let's go ahead and jump right into your first battle. Your team is rotating here through the bunker, and they've already communicated that there could be a caustic, and bunker is always a scary thought for me. I don't really like rotating through bunker. I usually like to go around the north or south, just because it's going to be a blind spot and you're not really sure what you're walking into. The fact that you've already used your Wraith portal means you really don't have an immediate get out of jail free card here. You have to be very safe.
In this house.
Listening to your comms, they've already said that there's somebody on the left side of the, and there's somebody in the house on the right. As your two teammates have pushed right to commit to the player in that one house, it's best for you to take a different angle. I think maybe playing here in the open boxes to the left, or maybe just playing the door itself, will give you a better feel for getting different angles on the enemies. Pushing through these doors here, your teammates have already communicated that there's a player in the house on the right, and then immediately afterwards, CERN is talking about a player being on the left. As you look left here in this moment, you continue to move right with your team. But I think the best strategy here would have been for you to play these boxes and try to find those other enemies. As you're moving away from the door here, you've totally given yourself no ability to get back out of this fight. Your Pathfinder and your Wraith could easily grapple or Q their way back into the doors, but as a lifeline player, you kind of have to put yourself in a position, or a support player in general really, where you always have the ability to turn, run, or use some cover here. Using these boxes for cover would have been ideal and giving you a little bit more sight in this situation.
It's the crypto, yeah, he's bringing it down.
As you calm the crypto and say he's bringing the drone in, the drone comes, the ulti comes, gets all three of you guys easy target. As you jump out from behind your cover, you get instantly penalized for it, instead of playing the cover like your Wraith did here and able to get a battery off. Unfortunately, they take advantage of a great crypto ult. They all three push in together and clean up the kills. Moving into your next fight, you guys are in a situation outside of runoff, and you all are fighting from one house to the other house. You have the team totally pinned inside a house, you know they have a Watson, and you've seen the Wadi ult go off. Pushing a house with a Watson, or a Caustic especially, is always going to be a very dangerous thing, and in ranked playlists, especially on KC, where every team is trying to rotate as fast as you can, the key to getting these fights and getting these points is to make fights end extremely quick. If you cannot end a fight quick, it's sometimes better off to just totally bail and leave these people in this house. This position that your Pathfinder is playing right now is probably the best position for you to be in. If you can get into this position right up here in this window, you can make sure that that second floor door is totally open. You can shoot the trap so that they can walk through that door, and it's an easy breach point to get your team in through that building and in through that door. Not a bad thing that you take a different angle here, and I like that you go to the roof to look through these spots and look through these vents to see if you can see anybody in the window. Unfortunately, your team pushes the door here, and one of your teammates pushes the first floor. When they push the first floor alone, they get really penalized for it, and this leaves both of you out here outside of this door with this one Wraith able to hold you both back. If someone was in that window that I mentioned earlier, they could prevent that Wraith from being there, and they can also take that trap out so that you could push through the door. This goes back to that fight that you guys had earlier where two of you took the zip line. It has to all happen at the same time in Apex Legends. These teams need to push together, you need a team fight, and you need to make things happen fast. You're either all in or you're all dead. One side note is since I know that you play with this same team of three consistently, it may be worth having a conversation with them that the Pathfinder may not be the one that wants to push in the first floor of the building. The Wraith should probably be the first one to go in. The Wraith has the ability to pop their Q and get back out safely on the first floor. That's kind of Wraith's job. They're like the entry fragger, if you may. Your Pathfinder may want to be on the balcony with you, pushing the second floor together and using more of a support system. One of you in that window and one of you pushing the door, and then the Wraith peeking and poking from the first floor, and then using their Q to stay alive a little longer while you push the distraction. It would have been an easier way to make this fight go a little bit more your way. For the final breakdown, I want to look at this one third party that you guys encounter where you just finished fighting, or you're just finishing fighting a team in runoff when another team shows up to try and third party you guys. You can hear your lifeline say there's another party here. And that happens. Your team is doing a good job of healing up. You're buying time here, and this Caustic is W keying you. You back up, you hear your teammate communicating to hold them, and then as this caustic pushes in, you penalize him right here. It was a great job for a little bait and switch there from you and Omni Sensei, and you get a kill off of it. I think in this moment right now, though, your two teammates are both full health, and you have a dead player on the other team. You know for sure that there's at most one player left on the first team that you were fighting who you believe is already dead based on the kill feed, and you have one player down on the remaining team. That should leave only 2 players left, 2 of your players at full health, and even if you're not full health here, you can thirst for an armor swap, and you guys can get aggressive and take advantage of this moment and your numbers. Instead, you back away to this door. You go for the heals, and your teammates are trying to fight.
Behind you, behind.
On my door, about to break it.
They've calmed that there's someone on this door, and CERN is worried about somebody else on the other side. When CERN gets the kill on the final player on that other team, these 2 guys go and push here.
Laser.
You get good damage in. Unfortunately, there's a Gibraltar and an ADS shield there, but
I am not.
CERN has killed one player on the right, and they've both run away down low here. Again, this is another moment where your teammates have the opportunity to try to force an armor swap off that caustic even, and try to get aggressive. But playing passive and playing indoors allows those players to take advantage and make this work the way that they want. They let that Gibraltar ADS shield come back up, and it causes problems for you guys in the long run. Even if you guys decide not to push that caustic and try to play a little bit more passive, I think one of the best options here would have actually been the balcony in that room that you went to hide and heal in. If you step out onto that balcony, you and your teammates could have climbed to the rooftop of that building and let the other 2 or 3 players fight amongst themselves. You could have had high ground, you could have had the ability to heal, and you could have had the ability to drop down on whatever team won the fight. So putting yourself in a position where you can play it slow, evaluate your options, and then take advantage of the situation is always going to help you guys out. And I think thinking for these little things and finding those little routes is something that you guys have to focus on. More and more in these videos, I see you guys in your positions where you're between 2 teams and you're putting yourselves in those positions instead of trying to rotate out of them. Maybe using a Pathfinder zipline, or maybe using a Wraith portal to get out and reposition yourselves to come back in on a third party is always going to be something that you should be looking to take advantage of as a team. The final thing I wanted to touch on was your guys' team comp. The fact that you use Wraith and Pathfinder is extremely strong on KC, but I think the use of Lifeline this season, or this split, has really become a little bit less of a good option. She's no longer an S or A tier character, similar to how she was in the past, or how she is still on World's Edge in my opinion. For the style of game that you guys play, you find yourselves in positions where you're either going to want to rotate early and hold, and I think that would benefit a Watson gameplay support more than a Lifeline gameplay support, or you guys are finding yourselves more on the edge in a couple of circles. And I think you really have to pick one of those play styles. If you're going to rotate early, using that Watson will help dramatically. If you're going to play the edge, the best characters right now to use for that style of gameplay is definitely going to be Gibraltar, or there's the third style of play where you're going to be more of an aggressive team. If you're going to be more of an aggressive team, that third player should probably be someone like Bangalore or even Crypto. So the 3 main things to think about was how you're going to play. Rotating early with those Pathfinder beacons, playing the edge with Gibraltar, or playing super aggro, pushing things as fast as you can with Bangalore and Crypto ults. Well guys, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you so much again for letting me review your gameplay. Quit my day job. You're the homie. Make sure you guys check out his information in the description below. I have all of his socials and Twitch and everything linked. Drop him a follow. Show him some love. And please let me know in the comment section if you guys have any feedback for what you'd like to see in future coaching videos, any feedback for how to improve these and get a little bit better feedback for players. And if you yourself would like to get some feedback as a player, please reach out to me on either Discord or Twitter. They're linked below in the description as well. And I would love to look at your gameplay, your videos, and try to give you guys some feedback as well. Thanks for everything, and stay safe out there during everything that's going on. Have a good one.